All right. So I'd like to welcome you guys to today's class. Like I said, we have already taken Skill 21, and Skill 21, Skill 21's title is Make Verbs Agree After Expressions of Quantity. The example in front of you only has all, but what applies to all, okay, applies also to the other expressions of quantity, which is most and some, all right, or some. All of the book was interesting. So what do we do when we have all in a sentence? When we have all in a sentence, or some, or let me see, what else do I have? We said some and most. Is that what they're focused on over here? All right.
Half.
Yeah, there's half.
Almost, some.
Thank you. Yes. Half, most, some. Good. Almost, some, and half is not even here. We noticed that it is in the table, right? Yeah, last time we noticed that. So these expressions, because I don't want to give you more expressions than what there is, guys, honestly speaking. I just want to give you what is available to make it not too hard on you. All right. But yeah, in the table, there's half also. Okay. So whenever you have these expressions at the beginning of a sentence, guys, or the beginning of a clause, let's say, okay, we do not focus on them to agree with the verb. What we do is that we look at the noun that is after the preposition. So all, because all, we say all of the people, all of the men, all of the let me say tables, all of the food, right? Yeah. So we look at this, is it has a prepositional phrase after it, not only all, most. Also we say most of the people, we say some of the food. All right. Yeah. See, these expressions, when we begin a sentence with them, we find ourselves using what? A prepositional phrase right after them. This is just how they are structured, guys, how they are structurally used in a sentence. Okay. You try and see. You will, end up using, let me say, what we have just talked about, which is a prepositional phrase. Anyway, so the thing is that whatever you use, okay, over here, you have to look at the noun itself that you have used. It's what determines the what? The kind of verb that you're going to use. All right. So if the here, the noun that is after the prepositional phrase that you have used is plural, you have to use a plural verb, like here. If the noun that you have used is singular, you have to use a plural, a singular verb. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, it depends on what you want to say. Okay. And if the noun is uncountable, it's uncountable, but generally, guys, when we talk about when we use uncountable nouns, the verbs that we use with uncountable nouns is what? Is a singular verb. Why? Because the uncountable does not have a plural, form. Okay. It just has one form. All right. Yeah, this is why. So as you can see, we can see was here, not because this is singular, because it's uncountable. So we use, let me say, a verb that is singular with I'm sorry, guys, about the distraction. Okay. My friend does not know that I have an online class. I can talk to her later. So let me just admit, we also have some of your classmates coming in right now. So let's just move on to what is next, smaller, and move on to the next page. All right, because I'm trying to revise with you what we said last time, because based on the revision, we're going to answer the questions. I'm sure you have answered the questions, but it's always good to revise to remind you of what we have said yesterday. All right. So, and as you can see, guys, look at the table. The table reminds us and tells us that when, our sentences or sentence, let me say, whether it's a sentence or sentences have these as the starting point, of a sentence, let me say, the starters of a sentence, we can say. You can, of course, capitalize them. They have to be capitalized. And then, because you try out, a sentence that begins with one of these, half of the sandwich I reserved for my brother, or I gave to my brother. All right. Or half of the sandwich was not that tasty, or half of the sandwich was left uncovered, or something like that. Okay. So basically, I said sandwich. So it's singular. So was, you see? So whatever noun you use after the preposition here, like this, it has to, let me say, agree with the verb here, or you can say vice versa. The verb and the noun have to agree with each other. If they're singular, both should be singular. If the noun is singular, the verb has to be singular. If the noun is plural, the verb has to be plural. If the noun is uncountable, the verb is going to be what? Singular. All right. This is something that we have just discussed. All right. Let's take a look at the exercises here. Did we do any of the exercises? I think we did one. Did we do one? Yeah, and I think we talked about the fire. I still remember that we talked about the fire, and some of you guys said that the fire is countable. Some of you said it's uncountable. And I said, why don't you look it up? And today we will discuss this, whether fire is countable or uncountable. So what do you guys think? Is fire countable or uncountable? Who can tell me?
Uncountable.
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 It's uncountable always.
لا fires. لا countable. يعني ممكن تجمع.
uncountable غير معدود.
Who has the final answer?
Sometimes countable and sometimes uncountable now.
Thank you. That's the correct answer. Is that you, Hema, who said that?
Yes.
Yeah, it depends, guys. Sometimes fire, we mean like, it's something, all right? We don't mean like, like a campfire, different fires, all right? We mean like fire, okay? Like when we say blood, air, in that kind of way, okay? When we're talking about substance, okay? In that kind of way. So if we're talking about something, fire in that kind of way where it's a substance, all right? Yeah. Then it's dealt with as uncountable, all right? Yeah. But if we're talking about like, different patches of fire, all right, we can say fires, by the way. Okay. There are 3 campfires. There are 3 fires, meaning campfires. That means, that, we're, like young men who like sitting outside when it's cool, and we like turning on, I mean, certain fires and so on. So each one could be called a fire, and then the plural of those could be fires, all right, in that kind of way. But if you look at this sentence here, guys, what is it? Is it countable or uncountable here? So the witnesses saw that most of the fire in the hills was extinguished, was turned off in that kind of way. So fire here is countable or uncountable?
Uncountable.
Yes, it's uncountable. We're not dealing with it as different campfires where people are sitting here and there and everywhere, let's say. Yeah. So here it's uncountable. And as you can see, we used what was with it because it's uncountable. All right. Not because it's singular, because it's uncountable here. Okay. Let's take a look at, let's do 3 maybe. We're going to do several, 3, 6, 10 maybe, 3, 6, 10. Let's do. How about 3? Who would like to look at 3 and tell me whether the sentence is true or not, or I'm sorry, not true, correct or not correct, and tell me what the problem is, okay? So what do you think? Do we have hands up? Yes, Dr. Dua, please go ahead. Dr. Dua, I chose you. I can't hear you though. Okay, it seems she has a problem.
I was talking while muted.
Oh, okay. No problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Number 3, it's incorrect. All of the students, which is in the class taught by Professor Roberts, is required to turn in their term papers next Monday.
Yeah, turn in.
Yeah. So it's incorrect.
Yes,
all of the students.
correct. What's the problem? Yes, what's
all
the
of the students. All of the students doesn't agree with the verb is required.
Excellent job.
It
Good
should
job.
be are required.
Excellent job, because all of the students, we said that the noun that comes after the preposition over here, so it's the prepositional phrase, the noun of it, it is what determines, let me say the verb, whether it's, a singular verb or a plural verb. So it says students, which students they are in the class, and that class is taught by Professor Roberts, but this has nothing to do with the verb over here. So it has to really what determines the verb is, the students here. Students are, as your friend here just mentioned, Dr. Dua, you are correct, to turn in. Turn in means to submit, to give back to the teacher, to the professor, their term papers. Term papers is like a report or an essay that the professor has asked them to write, okay? When, of course, next Monday. So 100%. So this sentence is what?
Incorrect.
Good job. Let's have somebody take a look at 6. Would like to take a look at 6 and tell me what you are required to do here. What do you want to do here? Who can tell me? 6, all of the witnesses in the jury trial. Who can? Who can't? Let me take a look at you. Who? I don't see any hands up, guys. What's going on? Yeah, it's not like the exam is tomorrow. Come on, guys. I'm going to make a random choice right now. So Salam Rusan. Oh, thank you. Salam has raised her hand. I'm so glad. Go ahead. All right.
All of the witnesses in the jury trial, which lasted more than 2 weeks, have indicated that they believe that the defendant was guilty. It's correct. The subject is witnesses. The verb is have.
Good job. Thank you so much. You did amazing, because we want to look at all of the witnesses. The witnesses here. That is, witnesses are people who, let me say, go to court and say, saw, let me say, something being committed, right? اللي هم الشهاد, we say, huh? So they went into the jury trial, which lasted more than 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's hard to go to court, court is المحكمة, back and forth. What have they done? So the witnesses have indicated that they believe that the defendant was guilty. So they have indicated, they have said, okay, that the defendant, that is the person who is accused, the defendant, all right? He's being defended, all right? Was guilty. Unfortunately, that is not something good, right? Look, all of the witnesses, by the way. So where is this person? Where is the defendant going? Where is the defendant going? I want to see how you guys can think and connect. Where is the defendant going, since all the witnesses in the jury trial have indicated that they believe that the defendant was guilty? Where is the defendant going? Let me hear one answer, Dr. Sahar.
To the prison, doctor.
Excellent job. To jail, to prison. Good
To
job.
the jail, yeah.
Excellent. Yes. Good job. Amazing. So, but as your friend just said over here, Salam said that all of the witnesses in the jury trial, which lasted more than 2 weeks, have. She said that the verb is correct because it's a plural verb and it agrees with the noun witnesses. And I agree with her answer. It is a correct answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Salam. Let's have somebody do, what do you guys want to do? 9 or 10 now? Let's do either 9 or 10. Who wants to do one of these? Yes, Dr. Shayma Bani Amir.
Okay. 9. I was sure that all the questions on the test were correct. I think correct because I sure all the questions plural. So where plural, this all sentence correct.
Good, yeah. So here, guys, as you can see, this is a clause over here because there's the connector that, but it's still, a clause has the same, let me say, structure of a sentence. You know that there should be a subject, there should be a verb, there could be other elements and parts. No problem with that. So anyway, I was sure, that what? All of the questions, So here, questions is plural. On the test, now the verb were, questions were correct. So yes, thank you so much. You did amazing. So nothing is wrong with the sentence and everything about it is correct. Yes, Dr. Kifah.
Most of the trouble that the employees discussed at the series of meeting was resolved within a few weeks. Most of the trouble is subject, singular, will verb was singular.
Are you sure that trouble is singular?
Correct.
Are you sure that trouble is singular?
Yes.
Uncountable, doctor, uncountable.
Thank you. But you know, guys, that what works in terms of the verb, I mean, if the verb is, singular for uncountable, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not if, I mean, like the verb for the uncountable and for singular is a singular verb. Okay, that's why it worked with her. But since she's speaking and telling us the information, that's why, I kind of asked her, is what is trouble? Is trouble plural, singular, or uncountable? All right. And trouble is uncountable because I say he caused a lot of trouble. I don't say troubles, guys. He caused a lot of trouble. Okay. So in Arabic, yes, we say mushkil mashakil. It's true. But in English, we don't have troubles. We have trouble. Trouble, we say a little trouble, and we say a lot of trouble. So we use a partitive, something that modifies the uncountable noun, but the noun itself is uncountable. It only has one, let me say part to it. It doesn't have a singular or a plural form. It just has one, let me say part, of it. All right. Or let me say one shape. We want to say, if you want to say one shape for it. Okay. And in order to show, quantity, whether that quantity is a little or a lot, we use a little, a lot, let me say a lot of trouble, so much trouble. Sometimes we say, right? Things like that, those kinds of, definers or determiners we say sometimes. Okay. Yeah. So, but the verb is correct because trouble is dealt with just like the, some nouns that are singular, right? So trouble that the employees discussed at the series of meetings, like the several meetings, was resolved within a few weeks. Resolved was, what does resolved mean? So the trouble was resolved.
Solved.
Resolved. Yeah.
Solved.
Solved. Thank you so much. Resolved means
Yeah.
solved. Yes, no problems were still occurring and so on. Thank you so much. All right. So we're not going to do, guys, skill 22. All right. We decided that we want to stop here and we want to take a look at, what did we say we're going to look at? What are we going to look at right now? Who can tell me?
Reading, doctor, reading.
Yeah. So reading is supposed to be on which page? Because, the skills are supposed to be 60 skills. And right after these skills, we have reading. I think I have, kind of moved a little bit faster. Here it is. So this is the reading section, as you can see. Can you see it, guys? So section 3, reading. What is section 1, by the way? Did we take section 1?
Listening.
Section 1 is listening, and we did not take it. Section 2 is structure. And structure has
Structure.
the two kinds of questions where you either circle the correct answer or you circle the incorrect answer based on the elements in the sentence. Remember those kinds of questions. And section 3 is the reading comprehension section. All right, this is what it is. So let's just move a little. Okay, so here we go. So these, okay. Let's take a look at this. Oh, this is a test, I think. We're not going to take a look at the test, guys. Okay. These are tests. These are examples, okay, of paragraphs that have been included in different tests, okay? So we would like to look at, the instruction or instructions that are available, okay? Let's take a look at that. Okay. Reading comprehension. The third section of the TOEFL test is the reading comprehension section. So what's the third section? It is the reading comprehension section. This section, all right, consists of 50 questions. Not necessarily, I'm not going to give you 50 questions, guys, but the book itself has 50 questions, okay? And of course, some tests may be longer. I'm not going to give you that. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to count 50 and give them to you, okay? I'm just going to give you some reading questions, all right? Yeah, just to make sure that you know how to answer, let me say, skill 1 of the reading, skill 2 of the reading, and skill 3 of the reading, all right? We'll talk about each skill once we're there. So you have 55 minutes to complete the 50 questions in this section. So this tells you something, that each question should be answered within a minute, guys. Generally speaking, This is what happens in general, okay? I might give you more time. I mean, I might give you more time, but in general, if you do a TOEFL exam that you're not going to take, you know, with me, you have to be done within a minute, each question, all right? You have to finish each question within a minute. You know that the time is part of the exam. In this part of the test, you will be given reading passages and you will be asked to two types of questions about the reading passage or the reading passages. Reading passages meaning the articles. You will be reading paragraphs or sometimes essays or articles, okay? Reading comprehension questions ask you to answer questions about the information given in the reading passage. There will be a variety of questions about each reading passage, including main
Sure.
idea questions. So this is one of the most important questions. Like you will read a paragraph or an essay, and then the first question I will ask you is, what is the main idea of this essay? Or what is the main idea of the paragraph? Do you know, guys, how you can get the answer? Generally speaking, you have read essays and paragraphs before. Who knows where you can find the answer to this question? Suppose I gave you a paragraph about whales. Whales, الحيتان, right? And I tell you whales live in the ocean. Whales, there are different kinds of whales, whatever. Okay, so where can you really get the answer to this question, which is what is this, you know, paragraph about? Yes, Dr. Mahmoud Matarne.
To answer this question, I think we should make like scan to paragraph to know what's the main idea in the text.
Mhm. It's true, but I want to tell you a secret.
Mhm.
If you are reading a paragraph, I think Dr. Salam wants to also speak about this. Let's see what she has to say. I'm not going to give you the answer since she has.
I
Yeah.
think we answered this question we found it in the first sentence of the passage.
Yep. Sometimes there's an introductory sentence. Sometimes there's an introductory sentence. Sometimes.
It's called the controlling idea, Doctor.
Mhm.
Am I right?
But most of the times, yes. The first sentence, if not the, it could be the second, by the way, not the first, by the way, but most of the time
Yes, the controlling idea is the second most of the
could
time.
be the second. Sometimes it's the first, by the way. All right. But it really summarizes what the whole paragraph is about. All right. And it's usually, if not the first sentence, it's the second. All right. Yeah. It, like I said, how can you tell? Because you can tell that it's summarizing what the whole paragraph, if not the whole essay, is about. Okay. If it's an essay, I mean. All right. So we will see examples, guys, to, you know, like to get to know how we can do that. Okay. So directly answered detailed questions and implied detailed questions. So sometimes there are questions that ask you about certain details like a certain thing, you know, and sometimes we might ask you questions about what is implied. You know what the word implied means? Who knows what implied means? It's okay if you say it in Arabic.
الغير واضحة الامبيدد يعني المشار إليها بشكل غير مباشر.
Good job. Yes. اللي هو in Arabic we say ضمني. All right. Yeah. So it's contained, but it's not, you know, mentioned in a direct manner. All right. Yeah. So you understand it, but you don't grasp it with one word, let me say. All right. Yeah. You have a general understanding of it. And sometimes there are another kind of question, guys. What's another kind of question? It focuses on what? Look what they tell you too. What? Vocabulary. So if you're going to ask your students even about certain passages they have read, these are, you know, good ideas. You can ask them about things in general. You can ask them about details that are clear. You can ask them about things that are implied. You can ask them about meanings, right? You guys all teach and you ask about these things, don't you? Vocabulary, what does this word mean? What does that word mean, right? Yeah. So vocabulary questions ask you to identify the meaning of vocabulary words in the reading passages. To answer these questions, you may have to know the meanings of the words. You can also identify the meanings of some of the words by understanding the context. So, what did we say? You may know the meanings of the words. You can also identify the meanings of some of the words by understanding the context. So sometimes you may already know the meaning of the word, But what if you don't know the meaning of the word? What can you do to get to know the meaning? You look at the context. By the way, what is the meaning of context?
السياق.
Good.
السياق.
Yes. And how do you know the context? By looking at all the other elements, as Dr. Let me say Mahmoud Matarni just mentioned right now. You look at all the elements in general, like you do some kind of a scan, to understand what's, this environment. What is the environment here? All right. Yeah. By using structural clues to identify the meanings of the words, or by breaking down the unknown words. So, step by step, get to know some words and what they mean. Okay. Connect all the parts together to identify the meaning and so on. Okay. So these are things that you're going to do when you want to learn the meaning of, certain words. Okay. These are general things. These are tips, guys, that you should, kind of take into consideration when you are. Okay. Okay. Why am I getting so many phone calls today? I don't know. I think one of you guys is calling me by accident, all right? But anyway, be familiar with the directions, The directions on every TOEFL test are the same. So it is not necessary to spend time reading the directions carefully when you take the test. Here they're telling you what we don't tell our students. We always tell our students reading the question is half the answer. Reading does not mean reading. It means to read, to understand. But here what they're telling you is that, the TOEFL test is a test where the questions are known. What do you mean the questions are known? That is, they're going to ask you about general idea. One question is going to be about the main idea, whether it's this passage or another passage. They're going to ask you vocabulary, meanings about some of the vocabulary, okay? Some of the vocabulary is, clear, cut, and, not difficult. And so, you expect them to ask you about vocabulary. Some questions about vocabulary, you can understand through the context and then, give the meaning. Because listen, guys, sometimes I might say that, you are, let me say, full. What does the word full mean? What does it mean if I say you are full? Who can tell me? Who can tell me what full means? You are full.
That's mean you eat a lot, I think.
You are full could
Okay.
mean that you are not hungry. I understand what you're trying to say, Dr. Mahmoud. You are full. In Arabic, we say anta shab'an. You don't have to eat because you are not hungry.
Exactly, yes.
But what if I mean by you are full, that means that you know a lot. You don't
It
need
depends on the context.
Excellent. That's why I asked you this question, because the word full, guys, means a lot of meanings, really. Okay. One of them is what Dr. Mahmoud said. Another is the one what I said.
Well, I wanted to say complete the sentences to understand what you want to say.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Now, this is the thing that you should say. Yeah, and I'm glad you said it. Okay. Yeah, because you said complete the sentence. That means if this was in the book, or this was part of a let me say paragraph, okay, this sentence that I said, you will continue to read. That is, you will understand the context to tell me what full means. Got it? So this is what we're saying here. But here, basically, sometimes they just tell you that, yeah, this is what you're going to do. But in point 2, they're telling you that sometimes you don't have to read all the questions. It depends on the question, okay? Why? Not that we're talking about the question, not the answer that you're looking for. We're talking about the questions, because the questions are ones that we are now connected to the skills. Like every question is going to be a question that is connected to a skill. Okay. Like, for example, the first skill is, what is the general main idea of the paragraph? So that's skill 1, by the way. Okay. Skill 2 is something else. Skill 3 is something else. And so these are things that we tell you about before you get into your exam. So it's like you already know what you're going to be asked about. But in regard to the passage, or in regard to the paragraph that, you will be given. Okay, guys? Huh? I want to ask you guys a question.
Doctor, some of our colleagues
Doctor.
are waiting to be added to the
Oh, really?
session.
I'm sorry. I'm not looking at who wants to be added. Let me see. Thank you for mentioning that. Where did they go? Okay, yeah. So I have admitted them all, by the way. Admit all of them. I'm focused on reading the instruction, and I did not even look at the fact that there are people not in the class. All right. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I did not look. Anyway, let's take a look at point 3. What is point 3? Point 3 says, do not worry if a reading passage is on a topic that you are unfamiliar with. All of the information that you need to answer the questions is included in the passage. So guys, sometimes we are scared. And I was going to ask you this question right now about this point. I'm going to ask you the question in a minute. Okay, 1 minute. Let me finish this. So sometimes you may read a paragraph or an essay about something that you never heard of before. For example, the paragraph or the essay might be about rockets. It might be, listen, it might be about Abraham Lincoln. It might be about Alexander Graham Bell. It may be about Picasso. Okay, someone probably you're lucky if you know the person, if you read information about that person. So, but sometimes it's about something, the topic is something that you have never read about before, you're not interested. And that's why I see, guys, it's always good to be, have this general kind of information about everything in the world as much as you can. It's really good, it's very helpful sometimes. But, if you are there and you are put in a position where, oh, there's a paragraph or there's an essay that you're going to be asked questions about in the TOEFL exam that you've never read before, it's okay. Don't cry. Don't worry. All right. Why? Because you can answer the questions still, because all of the answers are in the passage. Okay. So don't worry. All of the information that you need, what does it say here, to answer the questions is included where? In the passages. You do not need any background knowledge to answer the questions. But I can tell you guys, from my information, from my experience, it's always easier when you have some information about the passage. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to answer the questions. No, you will perfectly be able to answer the questions, but it'll make life a lot easier if you do have some information about the passage. All right. So never leave any answers. This is number 4. Never leave any answers blank on your answer sheet. I think we have mentioned this in the previous, let me say, instructions that we talked about before, even if you are unsure of the correct response. So if you don't know the answer, don't leave it undone, also still try your best to answer the question and choose the closest answer, possible. There is no penalty for guessing. I think this phrase we have talked about before. That means you won't be punished because you guessed the answer. All right. Now, what I want to ask you is this. In the midterm exam, let me see. I know your answer, by the way, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway. Is it okay if I give you a passage that is unseen?
It's better not to do so.
How about
Can you repeat it?
I'm going to give you one unseen, but if you don't want it in the midterm, I can postpone it for the final. Do you know why? Listen to
Leave
what?
it to the final, Doctor, just to
To get used to this, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
But just can you tell me what the meaning of what you say?
Unseen.
Unseen. Yes.
Yeah, unseen means for the first time you're going to tackle the paragraph or the essay for the first time. Like we did not work
Okay.
on it together. That's what we mean by unseen. Seen means one that we have discussed and worked on together. Unseen means we have never worked on it together.
Okay.
Got it?
That's mean in the first time.
Yeah. And by the way, when we take these paragraphs and essays right now, we take them not to take them again in the TOEFL, by the way. You take them to train yourself to get used to paragraphs and essays and to read questions and answer questions. There might be some things in common, because this is English at the end of the day. The words may be repeated in different paragraphs and passages, and your English becomes stronger when you practice, that, okay? But when you practice, let me say, the reading, okay? The reading section of the TOEFL, it's not because you're going to be given the same questions, by the way, okay? Because this is called reading comprehension. And reading comprehension means that, you are reading to understand and to be able to read questions. And yeah, exactly. But it's not to read, to memorize and to be asked the same questions again. All right. So maybe even if I do use the same passages, okay, I will ask you different questions, but I'll use the same passages just to let you know, okay? Like I'll ask you about different vocabulary items, okay? Different detailed questions, etc., something like that, because we do have to make some changes, all right, just to let you know. But I'm going to use the same paragraphs for the midterm exam, but for the final, no, I'm going to give you something unseen, just to let you know. Some of them will be seen and some of them will be unseen in the final, okay? So I just want to let you know so that you're not shocked or surprised. Okay, I want to skip this, guys, because it will take time from us. You take a look at this, information. We want to now move on to skill 1, because we don't want to spend all day on this information. And I think, this information you can go over, all right? Let's take a look at the questions about the idea of the passage. It is very common for reading passages, So it is very common for reading passages in the reading comprehension section of the TOEFL to have questions about the overall ideas in the passage. Overall ideas means the general ideas, the most
الفكرة
important
العامة.
ideas or idea. Yeah, the most common type of question asks about the main idea or the topic or the title or the subject. Look how they put them together, because they are related in a way. Because if you write something and you write a title, the title should be telling about the main idea, should be telling of the main idea of whatever you have written about, right? Some kind of way. But the title is like shorter, the shortest version, right? And what is the topic? It's about something, all right? You might say something like that, okay? So anyway, skill 1, answer main idea questions correctly. How can you do that? Almost every reading passage on the TOEFL test will have a question about the main idea of a passage. So main idea is the first question, guys, okay? That is, what is this paragraph about? Generally about, all right? This is what we mean by main idea. Every paragraph and every essay that you will take will ask this question. So you're going to expect this question. Even when you see any paragraph or any essay, you tell yourself, I know what they're going to ask me right now about it. Whether you read it or did not read it before, they're going to ask you about the main idea, okay? Such a question may be worded in a variety of ways. You may, for example, be asked to identify the topic. Listen, the thing is that we can ask this question in different ways, that we can really be very direct and say, what is the main idea? Okay, we can say what the topic, okay? Identify the topic, which means what is the main idea, or identify the subject, identify the title, identify the primary idea or main idea. So for you guys, primary idea and main idea is not hard. You know that what it means, okay? But if someone asks you about the title or the subject or the topic, they are also about the main idea or the primary idea, which is the main idea, okay? These questions are all what? Really asking what primary point, primary means like the most important point, the author is trying to get across in the passage. So get across means like, what is the main idea that he is sending, all right? All right, or that he's implying, if you want to say, okay? Since TOEFL passages are generally written in a traditionally organized manner, it is not difficult to find the main idea by studying the topic sentence. So where will we find the primary idea or the main idea? Where? They just told you where. Where?
And the first sentence or the second
Well, they
sentence?
didn't say here the first. They just told you the topic sentence. The topic sentence, in Arabic, we call it جملة الموضوع.
Yeah.
Where is this now topic
The
sentence?
controlling idea.
It could be either the first or the second sentence, okay? Let's see. Which is most probably found at the beginning of a paragraph. Beginning of a paragraph, like maybe the first sentence, maybe the second, something like that. Let's take a look at this example, guys. This is an example which is going to, of a paragraph in which the writer is going to ask us about the main idea. So if a passage consists of only one paragraph, so this is a one paragraph passage, you should study the beginning of the paragraph to determine what? The main idea. The beginning means like the first sentence or two. Listen to the passage. It says here, in the philosophy of John Dewey, a sharp distinction is made between intelligence and reasoning. Intelligence is the cat. Reasoning is to, use your mind to determine, let me say a certain, answer or response, huh?
العقلانية.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. According to
الذكاء والعقلانية.
Yes, according to Dewey, intelligence, let's see how he defines it. Intelligence is the only absolute way, to achieve a balance between realism and idealism. You don't have to understand everything, by the way, just to let you know. You look at sometimes it's good to look at the question and then read the paragraph, by the way. Between practicality and wisdom of life, Intelligence involves, what does intelligence involve? Interacting with other things and knowing them, while reasoning is merely the act of an observer, a mind that beholds or grasps objects outside the world of things. With reasoning, a level of mental certainty can be achieved, but it is through intelligence that control is taken of events that shape one's life. Anyway, the question is, what is the topic of this passage? And they tell you, that the topic of the passage is at the beginning of the paragraph. You guys tell me, what is he? What I know that maybe we did not memorize everything here. Even I didn't, okay? Just to let you know. But he said here, in the philosophy of John Dewey, a sharp distinction is made between intelligence and reasoning. So what is, guys? Come on. I think we have already read it. Okay? What is the topic of this passage? The intelligence of John Dewey, John Dewey, distinctions made by John Dewey.
Of course, no.
Distinctions means just general distinctions, furuqat in general.
Yeah.
No, not in general. Dewey's ideas on the ability to reason.
Of course,
No.
no.
Yeah, but this is not it. Not only that, he has done more than that, right? How intelligence differs from reasoning.
Distinctions means differs from.
Thank you. So its answer,
D is the correct. D.
yes, because how
The correct
intelligence differs, how intelligence is different from reasoning, because he is doing what? He is drawing a distinction, like he's comparing between them, showing what this is and what that is, how they are different. If there are similarities, he'll bring it up, but
They're different.
when we talk about distinction, that means the focus is on showing differences. Got it? So here it is. This is it. Differs, how intelligence differs from what? Reasoning. So I hope that it wasn't hard. Like, I mean, if they wanted to ask us details about this paragraph, they would have. But the goal is to tell you that no matter how scary the paragraph or the essay is, guys, don't look at it, and deal with it in a way that it's worse than what it really is. Don't scare yourself for no, let me say, good reason, okay? Because sometimes we're like, what is, I can't really understand what's going on here. This needs somebody very, let me say, who's into philosophy, who's into reasoning, who's into, let me say, intelligence, those kinds of things to understand. But that's not, I don't really care about the details. We want to know what the topic of the passage is. So don't make life harder than it is. That's all. That's my advice to you. So the first sentence of this passage discusses a distinction between the ideas of intelligence and reasoning in the philosophy of John Dewey. So this is probably the topic at the beginning of the, let me say, paragraph. A quick check of the rest of the sentences in the passage confirms that the topic is, in fact, the difference between intelligence and reasoning. So you can tell that this is what he's doing. He's showing the difference between these two, things. Now, you should check each of the answers to determine which one comes closest to it. Yani you still have to read all the answers, guys, okay? For example, listen, A mentions only intelligence, so it's not the topic, right? B mentions distinctions that John Dewey makes, but it does not say specifically what type. See, this is the problem. Distinctions in general, any kind? No, you have to mention the kind also. All right, and then we have C mentions only reasoning. See, we don't want only reasoning. He talked about two things, and C is incomplete. The best answer is therefore D. The idea of how intelligence differs from reasoning comes from the first sentence of the passage, which means a sharp distinction between intelligence and reasoning. I hope, guys, that this was not hard. Was it hard? It wasn't that hard, right? Yeah, I understand that the language here is language related to, you know, reasoning and intelligence, and even I did not focus on what exactly was said.
Technical terms, it's
Yeah,
included.
I did not focus. Like if they wanted to ask me a question about the you know, let me say the paragraph, probably I'll give it a little bit more focus to understand, like, you know, what they want from me if there was a certain question about what is here. But since I know, you know, let me say that what the question is, you know, the question is, I'm sorry, is to ask about the main idea of the passage, you know, and I know it's going to be at the beginning, the first 2 lines or something of that kind. So that's why I did not really focus much, you know, on the content of the, let me say, paragraph. Yeah, we can do that. We can, you know, trouble our mind and make it very tired if we want to. I'm not interested right now in knowing, you know, how reasoning and intelligence are different when I am very tired. I've been up since 6 o'clock. I don't know about you, but that's my life for today. That was my life for today. Okay, let's take a look at another passage. Are you ready for another passage? Huh? So we have another passage. If a passage consists of more than 1 paragraph. Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I don't show my hand because I don't to know to do what's in the laptop. Just I want to say, how can I practice in this topic because I didn't get it يعني, clearly. How can I practice?
I'll tell you. Let's go back a little bit. Let me show you. Okay, one more time. Because if you don't know, Dr. Mahmoud,
Please.
you have to know. That's why. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Okay, let me show you. Let me just enlarge this a little bit. First of all, I want to repeat what I said. I said that in every exam, you will be asked this question. What's the question, Dr. Mahmoud?
Sorry, it's about main idea.
Good, thank you. They will give you, I will give you, not they. Here, it won't be they, it will be me in the midterm. I will give you a passage and I will ask you a question. The first question about that I will ask you is, what is
The
the
main
topic of
idea.
this passage? Or what is the main idea? Or what is the primary idea? Or, you know, got it? What is the subject or the topic of this passage? So all of these words mean really the same. Over here, explain this.
The main idea.
Okay, so you know that this is an expected question, okay? Now you know or not? You do know,
Okay.
right? Yeah. Now, how do you find the answer? Simply, Dr. Mahmoud, the answer is always in the first 2 lines, okay?
Right.
So I'm training you, I'm telling you where you can find the answer so you don't waste your time. Because listen, in English, when you write, have you written and published any work, Dr. Mahmoud?
Of course, yes.
Okay, since you have done this, then I'm sure that you know that when you want to write about something, yes, there is related literature and there is an introduction, but there is a place in your research where you say clearly,
It's often will be in
my
the abstract.
research, you know, is about 1, 2, 3, right?
Right.
Yes. And in a passage in the TOEFL, in any passage in the TOEFL, this is stated, listen, in the first 2 lines, just to let you know. Mainly when you have 1 paragraph. When you have 1 paragraph, just 1 paragraph. You know, in your research, you have lots of paragraphs. So there's a place, you know, which is called the thesis statement, where you state what your research is about. But with 1 paragraph, you have to state this in the first, you know, 2 sentences at max, the first 2, the second maybe. Okay, so look, if you read, it's true. In the philosophy of John Dewey, so John Dewey has some kind of philosophy, okay? What does he say? A sharp distinction is made between intelligence and reasoning. So John Dewey, makes a distinction. He distinguishes between the meaning of intelligence and the meaning of reasoning. And there's more. We read the whole thing, by the way, okay? But we're not going to read it. because all of it
Mhm.
for us does not mean anything now, because we don't want to learn about the difference between intelligence and reasoning. Our goal, while we can learn, by the way, but we don't want to do this now, is to answer this question. What is the topic of the passage? Look, based on only the first sentence, Dr. Mahmoud, was
Okay.
the topic the intelligence of John Dewey? Were we talking about his intelligence or the intelligence that he made?
No, because not intelligence, right?
Yeah,
Just
intelligence and reasoning. He spoke about
yes.
both of these. So
Okay.
distinctions made by John Dewey,
No.
this could work if we did not have D, because D is clear. So because distinctions means furuqat, furuqat between what and what. You see, this is very general. So we did not go with this. So did he say in the first two lines or the first line, Dewey's ideas on the ability to reason, which means reasoning. Ability to reason means reasoning. Is that what he talked about only?
No.
No.
And look at the last one, how intelligence. So basically what they're going to do, Dr. Mahmoud and everyone here, is that they are really going to rephrase the first line in a different way. It has the same meaning, but it's rephrased, or we call it not rephrasing, we call it paraphrasing. Do you know paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means
إعادة صياغة،
Paraphrasing
إعادة
يعني it's
كتابة
the
نفس
same
الجملة
same
بكلمات
same
أخرى.
meaning in
same
the
meaning, but different way of saying
other
it.
way.
Because, yes, we want to see if you understand that this is the same here. So look, how intelligence differs, and differs means what, guys, distinctions, from reasoning in Dewey's work. Dewey's work means in his philosophy. His work is on philosophy. So remember what is the question? What is the topic of this passage? The topic is in the first line, or the max the second line. We have one line here and we read it, and the answer is at the end of this line, as you can see, or sentence, okay? And if you want to ask what is the main idea, 1 doesn't work, or A doesn't work, B doesn't work, C doesn't work, D is the answer. All right? So Dr. Mahmoud, with paragraphs, with, let me say, passages of one paragraph, this is how to answer this question, how to find the answer. So what we're doing here today is showing you how to find the answer when the question is, what is the main idea of the paragraph? Okay? Is that clear?
I got
Is
it.
that clear?
To be
Okay.
honest, yes. To be honest, it's okay now.
Good job. I'm glad. That's the most important thing. So we want to take a look now at another example, but this example is of a passage that has not one paragraph, it has 2 paragraphs. So what are we going to do? Is it this? Or is it this? Or is it a mix of both? The main idea. What do you think?
I think in the first paragraph, or in the first sentence of the first and second paragraph. Just first sentence or the
Good
first
answer.
line.
Good answer. Let's see. Good answer. I like your answer. So let's see if what you said is, true or not. Yani, guys, we learn by, these examples. So our goal really here now, Dr. Mahmoud and everybody else, is that we are, going through this experience to explore, to discover, so that when we get a passage in the exam, which is made of 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs, we want to save ourselves a lot of time and effort. All right? Besides the fact that we are learning more and developing our English, okay? So we are practicing, the skills really over here, okay? Yeah. So we already know the questions really. Again, look, guys, nitrogen fixation is a process by which nitrogen is continuously fed into biological circulation. All right. So in this process, certain algae and bacteria convert means like to change, right? Nitrogen into ammonia and NH3. This newly created ammonia is then what? For the most part, absorbed by plants. By the way, listen, I want to tell you something. We can go read the question and then go back here. You can do this, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. So when even I teach my students listening and speaking, I tell them, before you listen, I want you to do something. Go read the questions first. All right. Maybe it sometimes, makes you break the ice in a way. Okay. So which of the following would be the best title? So again, the main idea. What's the main idea? And if you want to read the answers before you read, if you want here, the essay or the paragraphs, I'm sorry. A, the process of nitrogen fixation. 2, or B, 2 nitrogen processes. 3, or C, the return of nitrogen to the air. D, the effect of nitrogen on plant life. So what is the answer? Look, nitrogen fixation is a process by which nitrogen is continuously fed into biological circulation. In this process, etc. The opposite process of nitrogen fixation. When they say the opposite process of what? Of what we talked about before, which is nitrogen fixation. So this is another process, but it's the opposite of this one because they say so. The opposite process of nitrification. So nitrogen fixation is denitrification, returns nitrogen to the air. So this is to return. So nitrogen from the air to somewhere else, and then from, let me say, from places, certain things, certain bacteria to the air. All right. During the process of nitrification, which is nitrogen, okay, returns, so where are we? Bacteria causes some of the nitrates from the soil to convert into gaseous nitrogen or nitrous oxide, N2O. Oh my gosh, I have been away from chemistry for a very long time. I don't know about you guys, but I completely forgot what chemistry is. So some of you guys are probably still into chemistry, right? It depends on your major. So in this gaseous form, the nitrogen returns to the atmosphere. So we have what, guys? So Dr. Mahmoud, what did you say? How do you determine the answer when you have 2 paragraphs?
I said in the first line of the first paragraph and the first line in the second paragraph.
I agree. Did you notice that this is what you did? What we're supposed to do? Yes, it is what we're supposed to do. All right. So take a look at the answers. Since you said that's what you do, you look here, the first line, first sentence, and here. So look again, nitrogen fixation is a process by which nitrogen is continuously fed into the biological circulation. Okay. Here,
Okay.
and it explains it, okay, where algae and bacteria convert nitrogen into ammonia, okay, etc. So here the opposite of this is happening, okay, and it's called denitrification, returns nitrogen to the air during the process, etc., etc. So we don't have to know all these details, honestly speaking, in order to answer the question. Which of the following would be the best title for this passage? The process of nitrogen fixation, or 2 nitrogen processes, or
Yes.
the return of nitrogen to the air, or the effect of nitrogen on the plant. What do you think, Dr. Mahmoud?
No.
Let's give the
B,
floor to
B.
Dr. Mahmoud. I want him to answer. Don't tell him. Don't help him cheat.
Okay. I don't want to see the answer, okay? But logically, it's all the answer, it's near from each other. Wallah.
Listen to me. This one, the process, it says one process. How can it be the same, Dr. Mahmoud, when they tell you nitrogen fixation, and then they tell you the opposite process of this?
يعني
These are 2 different processes. When one tells you that now the opposite is something else and they tell you about it, that means these are 2, not 1. But if you read this, if you read carefully, TOEFL needs careful reading, by the way, Dr. Mahmoud, mostly with the read.
Yes.
The process, it's not 1, by the way. The process means 1 of nitrogen fixation. Is that the main idea? It's not
No.
1. That's why it's really 1 word that can help you. 2 nitrogen processes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when they tell you denitrification, they tell you returns nitrogen. So it's related to nitrogen also, but something else.
Yes.
So look at this, the return of nitrogen to the air. Is that it? Again, it's really 1 when you say the return. So it's 1. The effect of, now this is far away. Look, this is something not about the process. This is something different. The effect of nitrogen on plant life. So this is far away, not even process, let me say about processes of nitrogen or nitrogen processes, okay? So the best answer is really to about it. So it's okay that you said that. I understand because, you've been away from reading for a while in a concentrated manner and mostly in English, okay? So the goal here really is to practice reading carefully and to pay attention to words that you sometimes ignore or not focus on. I had somebody's hand up. Who had their hand up? Please, guys, don't put your hand down if you have your hand up. I just want to finish what I'm saying and then I'll give you the floor. Someone had their hand up. What do you want to say?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, please, Badri.
يعطيك العافية, doctor.
أهلا.
When I read in the first sentences in the first paragraph, nitrogen fixation is a process. I choose the process of nitrogen fixation. But when I read the first sentence in the second paragraph, the opposite, the word opposite means that is another process. So I choose two nitrogen process. أتوقع إنه إحنا بندور على كلمات معينة بتدلنا على إنه هاي ممكن تكون the main idea of the
100%. By the way, listen, why do we take, let me say, passages of one paragraph and then one passages of two? Because in your exam, you're going to get of one, you're going to get of two, and you have to make use of this information. Although it's a different paragraph or a different, let me say, passage, you have to make use of it to apply to the paragraph or paragraphs that you have later on in the exam. Okay, got it, guys? This is why we say read comprehension, that you learn things about reading from the examples that you take. Okay? So I hope that this is beneficial, guys. This was, beneficial. Take a look at what they say about, let me say, the way this was answered. So if you take a look, guys, what is said here is that in a passage with more than one paragraph, listen, you should be sure to read the first sentence of each paragraph to determine the subject, title, or main idea. In example 2, which is this one that we read, okay? The first sentence of the first paragraph indicates that the first paragraph is about the process of nitrogen fixation. Like if you only read that, you would think it's just about this. If you look only at the first paragraph, you might choose the incorrect answer, which is A, like Dr. Badriya just said. She thought it was this first. But when she read the second paragraph, she changed her mind, which would be a good title for the, a good title for the first paragraph only. The first sentence of the second paragraph indicates that the process of denitrification is discussed in the second paragraph. Answer C is incorrect because the return of nitrogen to the air is the process of denitrification, only. And this is discussed in the second paragraph only, guys. We don't want this only. Answer D is incorrect because the effect of nitrogen on plant life is not even discussed in the passage. Where does it say in the passage that, we want to talk about nitrogen and its effect on plant life? Nowhere. There's not even, the word plant is not even there, maybe. Okay? So the best answer to this question is answer B. The two nitrogen processes are nitrogen fixation, which is discussed in the first paragraph, and denitrification, which is discussed in the second paragraph. The following chart, look at the chart, guys. This is good, guys, this chart. Why? Because it has key information that you should remember about main idea questions. How to identify the question. Listen, guys, main idea questions are really going to be like this. I might ask you, what is the topic of the passage? What is the subject of the passage? They mean the same, by the way, just different ways to ask about the same thing. What is the main idea of the passage? What is the author's main point in the passage? With what is the author primary concern? Primary concern, like what does he really care about in this passage mainly? Which of the following would be the best title? This is also, like if you wanted to choose a title, which one of these would be a title? Because the title usually is a summary of what the whole, if it's one paragraph is about, but if there are two paragraphs, it's going to be the title of both paragraphs together, all right? So where do you find the answer? Where can you find the answer? Look, the answer to this type of question can generally be determined by looking at the first sentence of each paragraph. As you said, Dr. Mahmoud, you mentioned this from the very beginning. You guessed right, by the way, and it's right. Just to let you know. What you said was not wrong.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah, it was, 100%. This is the only logical, thing to do. So how to answer the question? Read the first line of each paragraph. Look for a common theme or idea in the first line. Pass your eyes quickly over the rest of the passage, just quickly, just in case, guys, to check, that you really have found the topic sentence. Eliminate. Eliminate means, say no, no, no to the other answers. to the wrong answers and choose the best answer from the remaining choices. So this is what we used to do. We would, let me say, eliminate, say, oh, this doesn't work because this is only about the first paragraph. This doesn't work because it's only about the second paragraph. No, we want to find, let me say, an option that discusses both paragraphs. That's what we wanted to do every time, right? We need to move on. There are, of course, other paragraphs, as you can see. Please read them, guys, because they are important. These paragraphs here, they're not long ones. They're short, so please read them. And we want to take a look at skill 2. And if I'm going to, okay, shall I tell you or shall I be quiet? I mean, these could be probable questions for later exams, okay? Skill 2. Recognize the organization of ideas. What does that mean? Skill 2 is going to ask you about the organization of ideas. How is that going to happen? What does that mean, the organization of ideas? Let's see what the writer means by this kind of skill. Let's take a look quickly at this title and, kind of try to understand what, is meant by it. In the reading comprehension section of the TOEFL test, there will be sometimes questions about the organization of ideas in a passage. In this type of question, you will be asked to determine how the ideas in one paragraph or paragraphs relate to the ideas in another or paragraphs. What does that mean? Take a look. Let's look at the question quickly. So we have a passage, as you can see, and the passage is made up of 2 paragraphs. This is one paragraph, this is the second paragraph. The question is not about the main idea. The second paragraph, all right, does what? Okay. So they generally want to know what the general content of the second paragraph is. Okay, the general content. Okay, this is what they want to know. So take a look. Let's read together, guys, the passage. If asked who invented the game of baseball, do you know anything about baseball? Do you know this game, baseball? Do you know the game baseball, guys? Do you know it?
I think yes, it's about 6 players and يعني مضرب وطابة وبركض.
Good job.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Let me show you what baseball is. I'm trying to Google it for you, honestly speaking. So baseball, it's a very, by the way, popular game in the United States of America. I just want to show you an image of baseball so you know what that is. Okay, here we go. Let me share because I'm trying to share my screen with you. See it?
Yes.
This is baseball. Do you know it, guys, now? Have you seen this before? So this is the ball. By the way, the ball is if it hits you, it will break your, your window. If it hits your window, it'll break it. It's a very rough ball. And the bat, I don't know, but in Jordan, I heard that people use it when they want to fight.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was told, So we have
always
one.
in the cup.
Yes, see? So here you go. This is baseball. See, look. See how he hit the ball and he's running. He goes to base 1, base 2, the players. See, look at it. This is baseball. All right. So let me stop sharing and share, my screen again with you. All right. Which is this. All right. So this is what because I wanted you to know what baseball is quickly. All right. So instead of explaining and talking, it's better to show you a game. All right. What it is. So in pictures, if asked who invented the game of baseball, who invented this game, guys? Most Americans, because it's an American sport, would probably reply that it was Abner Doubleday. Most Americans think that this is the man who, let me say, invented it, okay? At the beginning of this century, there was some disagreement over how the game of baseball had actually originated. So sporting goods manufacturer Spalding inaugurated a commission to research the question. I want to ask you guys a question. Did it ever happen that some people fix a name to something that was invented or created, and then you discover that this person did not invent or create what was said was created by him or her. Like they say that Christopher Columbus discovered America, but then you hear people saying that no, it was the Vikings who discovered America. No, there was someone Arab who discovered America before that. No, it was Amerigo Vespucci. That's why we call America America, after Amerigo Vespucci, who discovered America. So sometimes it's hard to know what happened. Do you know why? Who knows why this happens? Who knows why this happens? Who can tell me why? Sometimes we don't know for sure who, let me say, accomplished something in the world. Why? Because,
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, I said sometimes why do we have this problem where we don't know for sure who accomplished something? Like we don't know who really discovered America. Some people say it's Columbus. Some people say it's Amerigo Vespucci. Some people say it's the Vikings. Some people say it's someone Arab who went there first. I don't know. Huh?
Lack of resources.
Lack of resources. Thank you for saying that. That's also a good answer, by the way. Because you know what?
And because there is a lot of answer, maybe.
There's a lot of answers. Because knowledge is power. This is why. Because the people who are powerful, who are the ones who decide who discovered America. And it's not necessarily that person that they say discovered America, but because they're powerful, they publish, they spread, they enforce what they want to enforce sometimes. Is that true or not?
It's logical.
Yeah.
Maybe yes.
And the problem, well, yeah, because I want to tell you something. You are in the let me say, in the 21st century, right? Right now, we are living in which century? The 21st century. And what I want to say is that if you don't read something, how will you know it existed? You can only read something if it was published. And you know that sometimes people publish certain things because, they are accepted by those in power. So if someone in power, let me say, did not like some kind of information, although it is true, or it really actually happened, what can they do? They can destroy it. They can burn it, get rid of it. And listen, after let me say, generations disappear and new ones come, they know what they read is what they're going to believe. And what they don't read, because it's not available, they're not going to think about, they're not going to consider it, right? What do you think?
Right, doctor.
Yeah, this is the world and how it
Doctor,
works.
it's most of the information we know are demonstrated by the authorities in some ways.
100%. And you can,
they tell us what they want us to know or to believe.
Exactly. But you should be more clever than what they, than that. And so believe and connect things that, together in ways that are creative, in ways that you can see beyond what they want you to see. Okay. Sometimes. And, this is what makes us, each and every one of us, unique. All right. So it's better not to believe what people tell you to believe. It's better, sometimes to think for your own self. All right. Yeah. Because people have agendas. Anyway, why I said this is just to tell you that, see how sometimes something like this, look, people are not sure who really, let me say, invented the game of baseball. Okay. So some, commission over here wanted to check and see who really discovered baseball. Is it this man or someone else? In 1908, a report was published by the commission. Commission is like this, let me say, organization. Commission is an organization in which Abner Doubleday, a U.S. Army officer, so he was an Army officer from Cooperstown, New York, was given credit for the invention of the game. The National Baseball Hall of Fame was established in Cooperstown in honor of Doubleday. So they confirmed that it was him. They said, yes, it is. Based on the let me say, the tests that they did, or based on the, like their double checking of the issue, they discovered that, yes, he was the one who really discovered it. Anyway, today, most sports historians, the people that know about sports, are in agreement that Doubleday really did not have much to do with the development of baseball. Maybe he invented it, but not develop it. Instead, baseball seems to be a close relation, seems to be a close relation to the English game of rounders and probably has English rather than American roots. Uh-oh. So the commission confirmed that Doubleday invented baseball, but historians of nowadays say that he did not invent baseball. It seems that he invented something called rounders, not baseball. And it has English roots, not American roots. Anyway, the second paragraph does what? Read all of these to understand. What is the second paragraph about? Look, today most sports historians are in agreement that Doubleday did not have much to do with the development of baseball. So the historians are saying or said that Doubleday did not develop baseball. Let's see what does paragraph 2 do? Provide examples to support the idea or the ideas in the first paragraph. Does this support this?
No.
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 Good job.
No, it's a contradiction of the.
Precedes the ideas in the first paragraph?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Like comes before it. I don't know. Outlines the effect of the idea in the first paragraph?
No.
So it kind of explains this. This is what this means when you say outlines the effect of the idea. So it's this, but you know, the effect of the idea. Refutes the idea in the first paragraph. Refutes means refutes.
Yes.
رفض يعني أو
Yes, yes.
تناقض يعني فيه.
Contradiction.
To refute
Conflict.
means to reject it, guys. When you say to refute something means to reject it, to not go along with it. To not...
رفض أو دحض أنت بتسمى.
Yes.
يعني بيدحض الفكرة اللي
Exactly. When you say
الاعتقاد
reject,
الأول.
the first
So, listen, guys, the first paragraph was about what? This man whose name is Abner Doubleday. People doubted that he was the person who established baseball. Then a commission, that means like a kind of organization, decided to check this out, to explore this. When they explored it, let me say, the result that they came up with was that he is the one who, let me say, established or invented baseball. And let me say, yeah, he deserves to be given the credit, let me say. Now, the second paragraph, today, most sports historians are in agreement not with these. Look, pay attention, that Doubleday really did not have much to do with the development. So nowadays we have people who agree that it's not him who, you know, let me say, invented or worked on developing baseball. See? So yes, it refutes the idea in the first. Be careful, guys, because if you read in a way where you want to the word agreement, be careful, it's not enough. You have to finish till the end of the sentence to have the information that you want. Yes, Dr. Mahmoud, what do you want to say?
I want to say I want to say the vocabulary. It's very important because I don't know what's the meaning of precedes and refutes. Because of that, I don't know the answer.
Good job, Dr. Mahmoud. And I want to tell you something. I want to tell you something very important. You see these words now that you are working on, look them up. The words that are here are very important because they will be repeated in other questions. The words that are here, maybe they won't be, but the words here, this is why we're telling you the question, the style of the question is important. Do you know why? Because it will be repeated in other, you know, let me say, exams, but the information, like refute, will be repeated. Outline, precedes, provides, these come again, but now about not baseball, about something else. Got it, Dr. Mahmoud?
Yes.
These words you have to memorize, by the way. Okay, you have to memorize it because they're repeated on and on.
When you read the paragraphs, I said to myself, I will able to be answer this question.
Yeah, because it's
when
not
I
hard.
see the answer, I suddenly I can't because I don't know what's the meaning of the.
Yeah, but I have to tell you something. The word refutes is something very popular. You have to memorize it. You're going to use it tomorrow in class when you teach your students. Okay, so
ممكن تكون keywords دكتور.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so these words are very important, okay? In TOEFL exams in general, they're repeated on and on, so you have to memorize them. Okay? Yeah. So to answer this question, it is necessary to look at the main ideas of each of the two paragraphs. See the main ideas? Where are they? The main ideas are at the beginning of each paragraph. Are the beginning of each and every paragraph. Yeah. The main idea, I'm sorry, of the first paragraph is found in the first sentence of the first paragraph. Most people believe that Abner Doubleday invented the game of baseball. The main idea of the second paragraph is found in the first line of the second paragraph. Historians generally agree that Doubleday did not invent. See how that's why we say the second paragraph refutes the first. Okay. So the second paragraph, therefore, this word is important, Dr. Mahmoud. Contradicts. Contradicts means is like in opposition to it. In opposition means refutes.
Conflict.
Okay? And
يتعارض.
opposite if you want to say.
The opposite of
yes, but you have to understand each and every
first.
Because what if they use one of these? You have to be ready for them. So that's why the best answer is D. Okay, let me move a little bit. Okay, let's move to. So we have here the table. Let's look at the table, but I have to enlarge this a little bit. So let's look at the table. The table says what? The following chart outlines the key information that you should remember about questions on the organization of ideas. How to identify the question. How is the information in the passage organized? They might ask you, how is it organized? That means that one, let me say, confirms something, another, paragraph opposes it, something of that kind. How is the information in the second paragraph related to the information in the first? Who can answer this question? In this paragraph, how is the information in the second paragraph related to the information in the first paragraph? They refute each other, guys. They refute each other. Sometimes we may say that the second paragraph may be examples on the first. The second paragraph may kind of, let me say, agree with the first, right? But these paragraphs that we read right now reveal a paragraph that says something, and the second paragraph comes to, second paragraph comes to refute what is in the first paragraph. Okay, that's a relationship between them. All right. So this is something that I just want to tell you is important. This is what we mean by how it's related. Do they agree? Do they disagree? Do they refute each other? This is what we mean by how are they related. So where to find the answer? The answer to this type of question can generally be determined by looking at, again, the same, just like the first skill, first sentence of the appropriate paragraphs. And this kind of question has to be, let me say, a question about more than one paragraph for us to say what we said or to discuss this kind of question. Okay, guys? How to answer the question? Read the first line of each paragraph. Look for words that show the relationship between the paragraphs. Choose the answer that best expresses the relationship, okay? Okay, let's take a look, guys. How about we look at this example, and then we will move on to skill 3. I'm looking at the time, by the way. And I can see that we do have time. So we want to take a look at this passage, and then we'll go to skill 3 so that we can be, let me say, we can cover 3 skills as we said. Passage 1, questions 1 to 2. Let's see. Conflict. Okay. Dr. Mahmoud, what does conflict mean?
I don't know.
Conflict. Is there a conflict in Gaza? What a conflict there is in Gaza?
ترفض يعني
الصراع. Yes. Conflict means
تضارب.
Yes. All of these words are okay, but conflict is really the word niza, that there is disagreement. There are people going this way and others going that way. So conflict, and so there is a problem going on. Okay? Yeah, so there's a problem. Conflict is that there's a problem going on. People are against each other. for different reasons, okay? So anyway, conflict within an organization. Is this good, guys, to have conflict? It's healthy, guys. It's healthy to have conflict. But what is not healthy is what we're going to do about the conflict, okay? If we do something that really breaks, our relationships, that's really problematic, all right?
For me, it's the worst ever, والله, doctor.
I'm not talking about what is happening in Gaza. I mean, just in general, it's normal.
within certain situation or a place of work, it's the worst.
But it's normal.
Really.
It's normal. We human beings will not always agree on things, But as human beings, we should find, let me say, a humane way to deal with conflict, okay? Not, a way which is animalistic, let's say, okay? Which is, which works with some and, destroys others, right? Yeah. So conflict within an organization, every organization, like at work maybe, okay, is not always viewed as undesirable. Look, are you surprised? Look what it says here. Conflict
Yes,
is
I am.
not always, yes. Do you know why? Why? Because need is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Only when you are put in undesired conditions do you push yourself in order to
change, to invent.
Yes.
Right.
Listen, the problem is sometimes with conflict, lives may be lost, right? As you see nowadays happening in war.
Yeah.
But but out of all this, might come something, which is, really great. Who knows? At the end, I mean, I know that the lives can never be brought back, but that's why as Muslims we say they go to heaven, right? To make ourselves,
of course,
be more comfortable, and that's what we believe, and that is really what happens, right? Yeah. But the idea is that sometimes out of difficulty, and struggles and problems and issues, let me say, new things come up that we never would have had without those conflicts. That's the thing, you see. So in fact, various managers, people in charge of a workplace, have widely divergent ideas on the value that conflict can have. Can you imagine? So they have what? Divergent. To divert means they have opposing, different, okay? Like we said, some probably might, from this sentence that you read, what can you tell? That some people like conflict to take place. Okay?
Yeah.
Guys,
we
don't wish it. I know. I don't wish to have conflict in my life. You don't, but I mean, it's natural. It will happen sometimes, whether we like it or not. And I know that we don't desire it, but when it happens sometimes, because it's there,
we have to deal correctly.
We become stronger. We learn how to deal, with difficulties, let me say. Sometimes we find ways that we would not have thought about, if we did not have the conflict that we had, and so on, right? So according to the traditional view of conflict is harmful. This is traditional. If you don't like conflict, then you are traditional. If you don't think there is some good to conflict, you are traditional. Traditional means what? شخص what?
تقليدي, الفكرة التقليدية عن الأشياء.
Yeah, this is you. If you don't like conflict at all, if you don't think there is some good out of it. Managers with this traditional view of conflict see it as their role in an organization to rid the organization of what? Any possible sources of conflict. So some people who are in charge of an organization, they want to get rid of conflict. The interactionist view of conflict, on the other hand, holds that conflict can serve an important function in an organization by, reducing complacency. The word complacency, underline complacency. Reduce means to lessen, to make less. What does complacency mean among workers? Look it up, guys. Google it. I don't mind if you Google complacency. What does complacency mean among workers? And by the way, this passage is very good because all of you guys work at an organization, a certain organization, and you know that we all might suffer from something like this. And causing look, even if you don't know the meaning of to reduce complacency, look what it says after that. among workers and causing positive changes. Did we talk about this right now or not?
التغيرات الإيجابية.
To occur. Managers who hold an interactionist view. That's me. I hold an interactionist view. I like it. Of conflict may actually take steps to stimulate conflict. Oh my God, but I wouldn't stimulate conflict, but I would not stimulate. Stimulate is like to create conditions where conflict can take place within the organization. Okay? Got it, guys? So I hope that this paragraph was one that you enjoyed, because I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it like I did? All right.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys can tell that we have two paragraphs. Conflict within an organization is not always viewed as undesirable. In fact, the various managers have widely divergent ideas on the value that conflict can have. Now, if you take a look at the second paragraph, there's a second one. There's the introduction. By the way, the first paragraph has the two ideas. The two. Look at the second. According to the traditionalist view of conflict, conflict is harmful. Look at the third paragraph. The interactionist view of conflict, on the other hand, holds that conflict can serve an important function. Okay, I want to stop. We have three paragraphs. Paragraph 1, introduction. We introduced both ideas. Paragraph 2, harmful. Paragraph 3, conflict is what, harmful or okay and good, and we can, live with it and deal with it. Look what it says here.
The positive side of conflict.
Yes.
So they should, they should be positive.
No one likes conflict, but some people, when it happens, they can deal with it and they look at it as something, this is what God wants us to deal with. Maybe we're going to learn something good out of this. See, this is what we mean by positive. It's not like we wish for it, but when it happens, we think of it as something positive. God has, some kind of a way for us, out or something of that kind. He wants us to learn something, we say sometimes. Don't we say that? So this is positive. Yeah. Okay. So how is the information in the passage organized? The origin of ideas about conflict is presented. Is that what the content is? The origin of ideas? No.
No, of course.
Okay, listen. Contrasting views of conflict are presented. Contrasting.
Yes.
I think so. Yes. Positive, negative, or negative.
The
positive.
first, the second, and third.
Let's take a look here. Two theorists discuss. Are there theorists? No. The strength and their views. Is anybody talking about the strengths of his views, and then somebody talking about their, let me say, the weaknesses? No, we're not talking about that. Examples of conflict. Are we giving examples?
No. There's
So the
no
answer
examples.
is, this is the answer. Contrasting.
B.
Good job. Yeah, it's B. Now, what type of information is included in the third paragraph? So this is the third paragraph. I think we just summarized the three paragraphs. What is in the third? They're just asking you about the third paragraph. A comparison of the interactionist and traditional view of conflict. The third paragraph, does it have a comparison?
No.
No, the third paragraph is focused on one view. Which view is it? It's this
positive,
one. Good.
Positive change.
A discussion of the weaknesses of the interactionist view of conflict. Are we talking about their weaknesses?
No.
An outline of the type of manager, نوع المدير, manager. No. A description of one of the opposing views of conflict. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the views. Because there are two views, good one, a positive one, and a negative one. So here, one of the opposing views, because they are really not the same.
Yes, positive views.
Guys, you have to go over this by yourself, okay? I have to take you guys all to skill 3. Because like I said, guys, if we do not go over these skills in this kind of way, yes, Dr. Shayma?
يعطيك العافية دكتورة. بدي أسألك سؤال.
Go ahead.
ما دام دخلت بالعربي شو مصيبة.
Go ahead.
أوكي. هلأ بالامتحان أكيد أنت رح تجيبي لنا نفس القطع الموجودة بالسكيل هون.
In the midterm, yes.
هي حكت إنه
وأند فاينل يعني نفس القطع. هلا لو كانت نفس القطع بس الأسئلة مختلفة ما في مشكلة. المهم إنه إحنا نكون فاهمين إيش بتحكي.
in the final, let's leave it to the final. Okay?
أوكي.
طيب المادة كيف؟
Midterm, listen, for the midterm, I'm going to give you the same paragraphs, but I will make some changes in the questions a little bit, but they will be the same.
أوكي.
Yeah.
No problem in the question. بس إنه تكون الباراجراف نفسها حتى نكون عارفين الترجمة.
Exactly.
أوكي.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. More than welcome.
Doctor, can you send to us this part, reading part?
The reading part? Yes, of course I will.
Material. شكرا. Thanks, Doctor.
Yes, tomorrow I will send Sunday's class and today's class, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Let's take a look at skill 3. We don't want to waste time because we have 10 minutes to look at skill 3. Let's just work on one example on skill 3, guys, 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll let you guys go. Answer stated detail questions correctly. What is this? The stated detail questions. Sometimes the question could
obvious واضح.
Yes, can ask you about a certain detail that is in the paragraph. It's stated, it's mentioned, not indirect. So let's take a look at what is said here. Let's read what is said here. And let's see. So many questions in the, but this is directly answered questions. Here it says many questions in the reading comprehension section of the TOEFL will require answers that are directly stated in the passage. This means that you should be able to find the answer to this type of question without having to draw a conclusion. All right, so you don't have to draw a conclusion. They will be there in the passage. The common questions of this type are: 1, stated detail questions. So this is what we're going to talk about. Unstated detail questions. That means they're not directly found there, but they are, let me say, contained, but in an indirect manner.
Embedded.
Embedded, thank you. And sometimes we have pronouns, like what does this pronoun refer to? This is a common question, by the way. Since the time you were in the 6th grade, 7th grade, your teachers would ask you, he refers to what? The pronoun he, the pronoun it, the pronoun she, right? Something like that. So I don't think these are difficult questions for you, but they are, fixed in some kind of way. So a stated detail question asks about one piece of information in the passage rather than the passage as a whole. So this is the one piece of information, not, let me say some kind of general information. That's not what you're looking for. Like skill 1 and 2. Skill 1 and 2 were more about like, what does paragraph 2 talk about? What does paragraph 1 talk about? What does the whole essay talk about? Like that, okay? Here, we want to ask you about something very specific. The answers to these questions are generally given in order. So listen, question 3 will probably be, let me say, not at the end of the paragraph. It will be probably at the beginnings, okay? Somewhere at the beginnings, not at the end. Because like question 1 will be about the main idea. So you know how to answer that. Question 2 will ask you about the summary of a paragraph. Question 3 will ask you about a specific thing. Usually it's found in the first paragraph. Now, if there is skill 4, and skill 4 is going to ask about something specific, it will be after the answer of skill 4 will be after the answer of skill 3. So that should help a little bit, okay? Yeah. So this means that the correct answer often expresses the same idea as what is written in the passage, but the words are not exactly the same. So this is the trick, guys. You have to learn how to understand what is paraphrased. Paraphrased means that the things mean the same, but different wording is used. In Arabic, we always do that, but because your mother tongue is Arabic, you don't complain. So hopefully that with you studying and getting used to the language, that, you also will become stronger, and, you will understand what, the paraphrased language means, okay? So we're moving on to this now. All righty. So let's take a look here. So we have this passage, Williamsburg. What's Williamsburg? Williamsburg is a historic city in Virginia. You know Williamsburg? It's a city where, and it's a historic city, an old city. And where? In Virginia. What's Virginia, guys? Who knows what Virginia is? Who knows what Virginia is?
A state in USA.
Thank you. I want to show you, something so that you will never forget, let me say Virginia. Let me show you. So I really love the idea of, pictures, okay? Because, pictures are, they get you never to forget things. Okay, so I hope that, all right, so here we go. Let me share this with you. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so that I can share. So share the screen. Here you go. So do you see the picture, guys? Is it clear? So this is the map of Virginia. So this is the Atlantic Ocean, by the way, okay? And this is Virginia. Do you see Williamsburg? I don't see it, honestly speaking, Williamsburg, but let me say, So this is Virginia, the map of Virginia. I can see at least, though, we can see Washington. So anyway, Williamsburg is a town in where? In Virginia. Okay, so this is Virginia on the map of the USA. Virginia is here. Look at it, guys. Here. So I don't know if they're talking about this Virginia or this Virginia, West Virginia. This is East Virginia. This is called West Virginia. Okay. So let me stop sharing.
Doctor, there is Virginia Beach, if you see it.
Yeah. But you got the
Virginia
idea.
Beach.
Yeah, I wanted you to see, generally, I wanted you to see, Virginia, to see where it is on the map of the United States. So anyway, Virginia has a city called Williamsburg, okay? What about Williamsburg? Where is it? It's situated on the peninsula between two rivers. So Williamsburg is where between two rivers in Virginia. The names of the rivers are the York and the James. Okay? So it was settled by English colonists. It was settled like it was kind of established by colonists. You know what colonists are? Colonists?
مستعمرات إنجليزية.
Colonists, مستعمرين. From where? Yeah. Colony, you want to say colony.
colony هو الاستعمار.
مستعمرة. Colonist. Someone
مستعمرة. هي English colony هي المستعمرة الإنجليزية في أمريكا.
Good.
وسط
And as a verb, we say to colonize. Like, for example, you may say that, Palestine was colonized by the Jews.
Yeah.
That kind
I feel
of
like offline right now.
So 26 years after the first permanent English colony in America. So this colony was established after the first colony. The first colony in America was settled in Jamestown. So this is the first colony, okay, in Jamestown. In the beginning, the colony of Williamsburg was named Middle Plantation. So Williamsburg has two names. The old name is Middle Plantation. The new name is Williamsburg, okay? Because of its location in the middle of the peninsula. So why is it called, let me say, why was it called, let me say, what's the second name? What's the second name? Middle Plantation. Why is it called that? Because it was between two rivers, okay? The site for Williamsburg had been selected by the colonists because the soil drainage was better than at the Jamestown location. Guys, you know that, land where there are rivers, the land is usually what? Fertile. The Nile River, the land around the Nile is very fertile, right? And the same here, guys. America, let me say, is a rich country Do you know why? Because its land was very fertile, and it still is, by the way.
منطقة خصبة
Exactly.
لأنها
Yes.
محاطة بالأنهار.
Yes, listen, guys, because it has rivers and it has, listen, all kinds of animals and birds. You know, the animal droppings, like what they like, you know, let me say, makes the soil very fertile, by the way. Okay. So anyway, because the soil drainage was better than at the Jamestown location, and there were fewer mosquitoes. That's why they like, you know, mosquitoes are what? Namus. They liked this place because it didn't have that much they didn't have that many mosquitoes, you know? So anyway, let's go to the question. According to the passage, because I might ask you questions like this. Williamsburg, which is, you know, it has another name. Remember, we called it what? Middle Plantation. Williamsburg is located where? On an island? In the middle of a river? Is it in the middle of a river? Where the York and the James meet. These are the names of the two rivers.
Two rivers, between the two rivers, yeah.
Yes, with rivers on two sides.
One of
which is the correct answer?
Yeah.
Good.
D?
Yes, it's D. Because listen, guys.
Between the two rivers.
Yeah. On a piece of land with rivers on two sides. When we say river on this side and a river on this side, it's in the middle. That's why it is called, look, if you read it, it's called what? Middle Plantation, because of its location in the middle. So it's in the middle of the peninsula. There is one river here and one river here, and it's in the middle. Okay? This is why it's D. Now, if you take a look at 2, the passage, that means this, indicates that Jamestown, here's Jamestown, here it is, was settled in 1633. Was Jamestown settled in 1633? Or
No.
Was settled 26 years after Williamsburg? Was the first permanent English colony in America? Was originally named Middle Plantation? We're speaking about Jamestown, information about Jamestown. What did the writer say about Jamestown? We can go to the passage, by the way. It was settled by the English, etc. 26 years. So this was created or made, this colony was made 26 years after the first permanent English colony in America, which was Jamestown. In the beginning of the colony at Williamsburg was named Middle. So anyway, the passage indicates that we want information about Jamestown. I think we already read the information about Jamestown. Was settled in 1633? No, we said that it was settled in 1633, not Jamestown. This is what we're talking about. What? Williamsburg here. Yeah, because Williamsburg was created, or you know, a colony in this year, 26 years after the first colony. So which is Jamestown? Jamestown was first established. Okay. Anyway, the passage indicates that Jamestown was settled 26 years after Williamsburg. Jamestown was after Williamsburg?
No.
No, we said before.
No.
Williamsburg was established after, not the other way around. Was the first permanent Jamestown?
Yes.
Was the first permanent English colony?
Yes.
Yes. Here, look at it. Look. So 26 years. The permanent English colony in America. So we're talking about Jamestown, at Jamestown. So Jamestown is the first permanent, you know, English colony. Yes, it is, by the way. Yeah. And D was originally named Middle Plantation. Was Jamestown called Middle Plantation? No, Williamsburg.
No.
So anyway, guys, listen. This information you can easily get, you know, from where? From the passage. Just go and read step by step and try to find the thread and make sure that you are getting the answers correct, okay, or correctly getting them. The last question, the passage states that the name Middle Plantation, where did this name come from? Is a more recent name than Williamsburg. This name is more recent than Williamsburg, or derived from the location of the colony on the peninsula. refers to the middle part of England that was home to the colonists. What does this have to do with it? Was given to the new colony because it was located in the middle of the several plantations. So what do you think is the answer? Huh? Was given to the new colony because it was located in the middle of several plantations? Not several.
Between two.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So 2 rivers, right? Yeah, well,
D is the correct.
but why is D the correct answer? We want to look at the question again. The passage states that the name Middle Plantation
Was located in the middle of
is a more recent name than Williamsburg. I want to ask you, is this name more recent than Williamsburg?
No, doctor.
No.
Let's see. So Williamsburg is a historic city in Virginia, situated on a peninsula between 2 rivers, the York and the James. It was settled by English colonists in this year, 26 years after the first permanent English colony in America, and was settled, which was in Jamestown. In the beginning of the colony at Williamsburg was named, so Middle Plantation was first given the name it was given this name first, Middle Plantation. Why? Because of its location in the middle of the peninsula. The site for Williamsburg had been selected by the colonists because the soil, okay. So we know now why it was chosen. So number 1, 100% is wrong because this name is not what Middle Plantation is not more recent. This is, this is older. Okay, the passage states that the name Middle Plantation derived, was taken from the location of the colony on the peninsula.
No.
The location of the colony, not the colony, guys. No.
No.
Okay. Yes, it is a peninsula in itself, but not on the peninsula. So refers to the middle part of England. Did we say that it refers to England in any kind of way?
No. The part of England.
Listen,
No.
D was given to the new colony. So this name was given to the new colony
because it was located
in the middle of several
plantations.
Yeah. So I really don't like this, by the way, the middle of several plantations. But do you know what a plantation is? A plantation, it's in the middle of several plantations. It is because where yes, where land meets river. That's why. And several means more than one. So it's tricky. It's tricky because they say several. You would think that it's many, like with the word several. Several means more than one. Okay. And a plantation is like an area where you can plant, let me say crops, and it's attached to water. Okay. So it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky, but remember when we talked about TOEFL questions, we said what we do is that when we read, the question, read it several times, and we try to eliminate. Eliminate means say, this is impossible, that's impossible, that's impossible. We're left with this.
الأجوبة الخاطئة.
If you read it, you feel it's not wrong. Maybe it's not, close to your heart. You wish that these words were different sometimes, but I mean, it's not wrong. Got it?
Good.
Got it, doctor.
Thank you for saying good for me. So,
doctor?
Yes.
We want reading part, the book. We want the book.
Oh, you don't have that? I sent
No, doctor.
No, I sent it. I want to ask you guys a question.
Dr. Tahar says that the reading material that you sent to us is an updated version of this book. I didn't check it myself.
No, check it, please, guys. I did send it to you. I sent you guys all the book, by the way. I sent you guys the book that
yes, doctor. Yeah. You sent that in Dropbox.
Thank you. See, Shayma said I sent it. So, Shayma, can you please show them later on?
I will send in WhatsApp all.
Thank you.
In the WhatsApp group.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I sent you the book that has the
Yes,
reading. Okay.
you sent it
Yes, I did. So I'm glad
in the
that
first lecture.
always, yes, have a discussion whenever you feel you don't have something. It's always good. This serves everyone. Okay. So guys, we want to stop here.
Okay.
Inshallah, take a break, rest, enjoy the day. And when you have time, revise, step by step the material. You guys have a great evening and goodbye for now.
Okay, good evening. Goodbye.